Hello, ladies and gentlemen of SeemsGoodMagic.com. This is Travis Simulant Sowers, and what are we doing? We're doing one of these Phantom Sealed events, which is a really great way to get in some sealed practice. You spend essentially like 8 tickets or 80 play points. You don't keep any of the cards, but you get to build the decks, you get to play 3 rounds, and then go do it again. So it's a terrific way to get sealed practice. I'm actually pretty excited that these are out now. So let's take a look at what we've got here and see what we would like to do with it. I always do like to take a peek at the rares that I've opened first, kind of see if there's an idea where we might be going with those. These rares seem to say you might be interested in blue-black. We've got a Ruinous Path, which is always a great card. Reality Smasher, which is smashing if you can get it in a deck. I see you over here, Crumbling Vestiges. We've got a Fathom Feeder, which is a terrific card. Like, anytime you can have a 2-drop that's good early and good late, that's just phenomenal. It can trade with anything, it can draw cards, it can randomly ingest stuff. It is double costed, so it's a little tougher to use, but we're interested in that. We've got a Skulker. Like, who likes drawing cards? This guy. Captain's Claws, kinda meh, but maybe playable in some cases. And Bearer of Silence isn't bad. I mean, it's a welcome turn. I always say one good turn deserves another. The other thing I like to look at before we dive too deep here is what we've got going on in the mana fixing departments. I see a Blighted Cataract, 2 Crumbling Vestiges, and a Holdout Settlement, so it looks like colorless mana for the Reality Smasher won't be too hard. Walker of the Waste, probably not happening. We've also randomly got white-green and red-green fixing. It's also worth taking a look at your colorless cards, like Hedron Crawler and Kozilek's Channeler probably get in most decks. Captain's Claws get in some number of decks that we might build. That's about all we can do for now, so next step for me in Sealed is to pull down all of the playables and then put on top of each of the piles the cards that make me want to be that color. So let's start there. Actually, some very reasonable white cards here too, which none of them are rares, but they look pretty darn good. Like the one Aeronaut, sure, you can play more, but like that's not why you're playing white. The white's actually pretty darn good. So what has me interested in white? Well, Relief Captain for starters, if we can get a fast enough deck. Smite the Monstrous, Sheer Drop, Immolating Glare, and Gideon's Reproach. So like, here's 5 cards that make me want to play white in my deck. 4 of them are decent removal smells. Yeah, that's what I said. We're just gonna go with it. Although I think Smite has gotten worse than it used to be. Relief Captain is obviously big money if you can curve out into it. All right, for blue, what have we got here? Actually not too deep on the blue. Yeah, so blue looks like it might actually be better as a splash. Like the draws to it are really only the Skulker. Like I saw our pool and was like, okay, blue-black it is. Not so sure about that now. But there's a chance we try to work this in here. I mean, you could probably do it with the Settlement, a Vestige, and a Island. All right, what have you got for us, black? Witness the End's probably playable, even if you're not excited about it. Envoy's great, especially with that Soothsayer I see down there. Like, that is the wombo combo. Double Healer. I don't know if these are doable. We'd have to have a lot of ally shenanigans, which we might. There's a lot of different ways that this black deck could go. One of them that's obvious is pair it with the white, play the removal, splash the Deep Fathom Skulker, win games. But we'll see where this goes. I think we're going to rule out blue as a main color, though, obviously. Like, Skulker still might get in something, but I don't think anything else is. Red has some stuff going for it. Mainly Rolling Thunder. What else you got? I kind of didn't go through and say here's the stuff that makes us want to play black, because there's just so much of it. But let's take a second and do that. There's the Strike, the Ruinous Path, and the Soothsayer, and to a lesser extent the Envoy. But this is starting to draw me into black decks. So like, the black-white deck actually doesn't look terrible. And just about everything's an ally. We might have a thing there, because red kind of has Devour in Flames and Rolling Thunder, and that's about it. Reality Hemorrhage is fine too, but we're not like going nuts over it. What do you got for me, green? Stalking drones. I like the plumes. But yeah, green's not deep enough. It's a similar situation to blue in that there's not really powerful stuff going on here, and it's not particularly good. So question is, do we want to go... I kind of think black-white might be the route to go, and then see if we can fit in the Smasher, or possibly the Skulker, or possibly both. We'll see. But like, it can't be green. There's some reason to say that we might side into green. Let's say that we end up with a relatively good red-white build that's close to being where we want it. I kind of can't imagine not playing these things, but let's say we didn't. We could splash these in and splash plummets, but that's not what's happening now. Let's take a look at these decks. It feels like black is sort of where I want to be. So we can kind of like say this stuff isn't happening. And like, let's look at the black cards and say, what does black really need? One of the other things I've been doing a lot in Sealed is just trying to play all of the removal spells. So what has black got going on for it? And like, I think we probably play Channeler in whatever deck we're playing because it's just fine as a 5 mana 4/4. So black has got decent removal. I don't know that there's really a reason to play the Corpse Churn unless we're just super short playables. It's also got these healers, which may or may not be good. He obviously play well with the Soothsayer. Like, we'll get some triggers out of them, but not a lot. One thing that does make them a little better is if we add in the white, and we're running something like this. How many allies would I have at that point? I get that they're not all triggering off of allies, but they do make a decent body for support, although to be fair, I might be better off just like cutting them and playing the other Aeronaut. How many, like, here's 23 cards. This is a reasonable build right here without fiddling with anything else, without playing the Reality Smasher or anything. Like, this does a thing. It draws cards, it kills people with Chain Mages, it sometimes curves out with a Relief Captain, and it's got pretty damn good removal for whatever they're playing and a discard spell. I don't necessarily need to witness the end, but I don't hate it either. It seems like the Reality Smasher is just pseudo-free. The Blighted Cataract does, again, lean me a little more towards blue. So white's basically got little dorky dudes, a Relief Captain, and a bunch of allies. Let's do an ally count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We've got 10 allies. Like, let's say each one of these comes into play and potentially does 2 or 3 points of damage over the course of a game. I don't know if that's good enough to be playing a 1-2. I haven't played these guys in Sealed. I mean, we've all built the draft decks. What else are they really enabling? Like, this pool kind of wants some of the tappers. Let's look at red-black quickly. Like, we've still got some time here. I don't think I'm getting off of the black, but I could be wrong. Like, the red-black kind of plays a little better with my play all of your good removal spells shenanigans. Because, like, Devour in Flames, really good. Reality Hemorrhage, really good. Rolling Thunder, really good, especially with Zichanala. It doesn't make use of the healers so well, but we could take them out and splash something else. It's still got the Chain Mage, Soothsayer, Flame Seeker. I think I kind of like this better. Like, it's kind of tough not to play that Relief Captain. But let's say we gutted the healers here. We've still got enough wombo combo ally dudes. Like, we've got the Sharpshooter, the Envoy. This gives us access to a Looter. I like this Looter a lot. The free runner's an ally too. Yeah, he's not coming out super fast all the time, but he's fine. It's semi-evasive. I'm not really looking to surge him out, and we can cut him if we have to. Like, he doesn't have to be in the deck either. But I think we'd want the Reality Smasher in this deck for sure. The question is, do I want to go nuts enough to try to splash this too? And the answer is probably not. I don't hate the Captain's Clause on like a Zada's Commando or a Bearer of Silence. I'm not really sure how well we can take advantage of the tokens, although that's a compelling argument for having the Callistra healers back in the deck. That's perhaps a wombo combo that I didn't notice in the black-white version, is if you've got these guys out and you attack with this, it just drains them for one a turn. Hedron Crawler potentially gives us a little more ramp, which is probably good with all these things. I don't know, this is a tougher build than I thought it was going to be initially. I don't think blue is deep enough to be able to pull that off, because we're playing like salvage drones, unhappily. Yeah, blue's not playable. I guess the only other thing to do is look at the white in light of that equipment, but I kind of think I'm just going to like this better. Like that red looks really good. So I put the Captain's Clause in, and it's cool because we can do things. Here, you know what might make this easier? Let's actually just look at the red cards next to the white cards and put them in the arena and say, which would you rather have in your deck? Which of these two is going to lead to more wins? I'm not convinced Smite's amazing. So we've got one extra removal spell in white, but it's the least good of the removal spells we've got. We've got the potential to run over somebody versus the potential to loot out of bad draws or have some late game shenanigans. We do get some good flying attacks. I think whichever one I build, I'm going to want to have access to the other one. Gosh, this is so close, and we've got 7 minutes left. I don't think there's any chance that it's just red-white. But I kind of want to try this white-black deck now that I've looked at them. Gosh, this is so weird. It's like there's no way I'm not going to play this, except I totally am not going to play that. Like, can I not play the Reality Smasher? That seems crazy. That's just got to be wrong. All right, so let's get rid of the Witness the End. If we're building this, and I'm not saying we are, I'm just saying we probably are. And anything that's not an ally and not amazing probably isn't justified here. Like Havoc Sower, you're mostly a hill giant here, so let's bench you. It looks like we don't have enough dudes, but I'm trying to make room for a Channeler and a Reality Smasher, which means we have enough dudes. Like, these guys are cool because we can support onto them. We've also got the Captain's Clause, so it sort of gives an equipped creature a +2/+0. And with the Aeronaut, the Bearer, the Sky Climber, like, we can actually do stuff with it, I think. I almost want to cut the Raptor and get another McKindy Aeronaut in here. That may just be better than the combat trick. Like, I want allies in the deck. I think this is actually where I want to be. I don't know, this is a close build. There's a chance we side into the red one, but I'd say there may be a chance, like the other sealed video, that we do we actually swap out decks at some point. So it looks like our curve is mostly black, although we have double whites, 2 of those, and not 2 double blacks. And like if we're curving out, we definitely want to have the double white. Our only colorless source at the moment is the Channeler, so I probably want to play the Settlement and both Vestiges. which makes our mana a little bit worse, but it means we can probably hit this Reality Smasher with 4 sources. It also means that this is often going to be a 2/1 flyer, which is fine. I think we would actively want that. Yeah, this is not what I thought I was going to do when I saw the Rares and saw the Rolling Thunder, but here we are. All right, so we'll favor 7/7. That actually seems reasonable. Although I sort of want to hedge on white, but I guess we're going to have to just accept that the mana's not great. I also don't think the curve is high enough that I want to run 18 lands. Like, a lot of people have been defaulting to 18 lands and sealed, and I'm not convinced that it's correct. All right. I think I like this one. Let's submit it. Get ready for the first round, and I'll look at the red-black build while we're getting ready for the next round, because I think there's... The next round, he says. The first round. Because I think there's a chance that we would play that too and maybe splash for the Reality Smasher, and well, probably not splashing for a 5-mana 4/4. But you could even get like a Grixis thing going with a light blue splash. Because Fathom Feeder is absurd. I almost want to put it in here, except we don't have a repeatable source of blue. Like, if I could trade these for white-blue lands, I think we're doing something. But anyway, this is going to be my first build. We'll see how it does. And I will see you guys in round 1 in just a minute.